What if, at 70, you decided to embrace solitude instead of constantly seeking the company of others? Would it bring peace or loneliness? Many older adults face this question as they navigate their later years. Surprisingly, solitude isn't always about isolation. It can be a gateway to mental clarity, emotional well-being, and personal growth. In this video, we'll explore 6 inspiring stories of seniors who found joy and fulfillment by stepping away from societal expectations and embracing the quiet beauty of alone time. Stay with us to discover how solitude can enrich your life in unexpected ways. James' journey to mental peace, the power of solitude. At 71, James had always been the life of the party. A widower with a naturally sociable demeanor. He was a regular at family gatherings, neighborhood barbecues, and social clubs. For decades, these activities brought him joy, connection, and a sense of belonging. But as time went on, James began to notice a subtle shift. The energy he once found in socializing now seemed to drain him. The chatter, the noise, and the endless expectations began to feel overwhelming, rather than uplifting. One evening, James attended a large family dinner. The room was filled with laughter, lively conversations, and the clinking of glasses. Yet, amidst the celebration, James felt a profound emptiness. It was a moment of clarity. He realized the energy he had been pouring into these interactions was leaving little room for himself. Socializing had become less about connection and more about obligation. Determined to reclaim his peace, James made a conscious decision to step back from constant social engagements. At first, it wasn't easy. Declining invitations felt unnatural, and the thought of disappointing his loved ones weighed heavily on him. However, James stayed committed to his choice. Driven by the need to reconnect with himself, he began filling his days with quiet activities that brought him genuine joy. Long walks in the park allowed him to soak in the beauty of nature while reflecting on his thoughts. Hours spent reading in his favorite chair became a cherished ritual. Slowly but surely, the mental fog that had plagued him lifted, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity he hadn't experienced in years. James' journey wasn't about rejecting the people he loved, it was about finding balance. By prioritizing moments of solitude, he discovered a deeper connection with his inner self. This newfound peace also enhanced the time he did spend with others, as he showed up more present and recharged. His story highlights an essential lesson: solitude can be a powerful form of self-care. In a world filled with distractions and endless demands, taking time to be alone isn't selfish, it's necessary. By creating space for solitude, we can reflect, recharge, and cultivate a sense of peace that radiates into every aspect of our lives. James reminds us that stepping back isn't about avoiding others, it's about stepping into ourselves. Maria's journey, setting boundaries for a healthier life. At 73, Maria was the heart and soul of her family. Known for her warm personality and unparalleled hospitality, she hosted every holiday gathering, organized countless family barbecues, and was the glue that kept everyone together. For years, Maria thrived in her role, taking pride in being the person everyone relied on to bring joy and connection to their lives. But as time went on, the demands of this role began to take their toll. Maria vividly recalls one weekend when she hosted back-to-back family events. By the end of it, she was utterly exhausted, physically drained and emotionally depleted. Her body ached. Her mind was clouded. And instead of the joy she once felt, there was only fatigue. It was in that moment Maria realized something needed to change. She couldn't continue to carry the weight of everyone's expectations at the expense of her own well-being. Determined to prioritize her health, Maria began setting boundaries, something she had never done before. At first, it felt unnatural. Declining invitations and stepping back from hosting duties made her feel guilty, as though she were letting her family down. But over time, Maria discovered the profound benefits of saying no. She started communicating her limits clearly, letting her loved ones know when she needed rest or couldn't take on another event. Instead of hosting elaborate dinners, she suggested smaller, simpler gatherings where everyone contributed. As she made these changes, Maria noticed a dramatic improvement in her health. Her energy levels increased, her stress diminished, and she found herself feeling lighter, both physically and emotionally. With more time and energy for herself, Maria rediscovered activities that brought her joy, like gardening, taking long walks, and reading her favorite novels. She was no longer constantly fatigued by overcommitting but instead felt vibrant and recharged. Maria's journey teaches a vital lesson: setting boundaries is not selfish, it's an act of self-care. By acknowledging her limits and prioritizing her needs, Maria not only improved her own health but also enhanced the quality of her interactions with her family. She could now show up fully present and truly enjoy the moments that mattered. Her story is a reminder that we all have the right to say no and the power to choose how we spend our time and energy. By setting boundaries, we create space for joy, balance, and a healthier, more fulfilling life. William's realization: letting go of superficial connections. At 76, William had always believed that a large social circle was the key to a fulfilling life. For decades, his weekends were packed with community events, casual meetups, and gatherings with neighbors. The constant buzz of social interactions made him feel connected and alive, or so he thought. But as the years passed, he began to notice something unsettling. Despite spending hours surrounded by people, he often left these events feeling more drained than fulfilled. One evening, after attending a neighborhood barbecue, William found himself reflecting on why he felt so empty. The conversations had been friendly but shallow, revolving around the same surface-level topics: the weather, neighborhood gossip, and small talk that never delved deeper. He realized that, while he knew many people, he truly connected with very few. The thought struck him: why am I investing so much time in relationships that don't truly enrich my life? That question marked a turning point for William. He began to reevaluate his social circle, shifting his focus from quantity to quality. Gradually, he stepped back from large gatherings and casual acquaintances that didn't offer meaningful connection. Instead, he prioritized spending time with a smaller group of people, those who truly knew and understood him. Whether it was long conversations with his daughter, sharing memories with old friends, or simply enjoying the company of a kindred spirit, these deeper relationships brought him a sense of joy and fulfillment he hadn't felt in years. As William distanced himself from superficial interactions, his emotional well-being improved significantly. He no longer felt the need to attend every event or maintain a wide network of acquaintances. Instead, he embraced the peace that came with meaningful connections and even moments of solitude. For the first time, he felt free from the pressure to be constantly on in social settings, allowing him to focus on what truly mattered. William's story reminds us of the value of prioritizing depth over breadth in our relationships, especially as we age. The pursuit of numerous social connections can often lead to emptiness, while cultivating meaningful bonds brings true joy and satisfaction. By letting go of superficial ties, we create space for the relationships and experiences that truly enrich our lives. Proving that it's the quality of our connections, not the quantity, that matters most. Clara's solitude, finding inner peace through quiet moments. At 78, Clara had always been known for her vibrant social life. She loved meeting friends for coffee, attending community events, and being involved in her local circles. But as the years went by, Clara began to notice a subtle shift in how she felt after social gatherings. What used to bring her joy and excitement now often left her feeling mentally drained and emotionally cluttered. She realized that the energy required to engage with others, especially in large groups, was no longer something she could sustain. Clara vividly remembers a particular evening after a family reunion. The event had been lively, full of laughter and conversation. But as she returned home, she felt exhausted, not uplifted. It was then she recognized that her constant socializing was leaving little room for her to connect with herself. She decided to make a change, not by isolating herself but by intentionally carving out time for solitude. She began her journey by taking daily walks along the serene lake near her home. These quiet strolls allowed her to immerse herself in the soothing rhythms of nature and reflect on her thoughts without the distractions of the outside world. Clara also embraced meditation, starting each morning with mindful breathing exercises that helped her center herself for the day ahead. In the afternoons, she would curl up in her favorite chair with a book, savoring the stillness and the opportunity to lose herself in a story. Initially, Clara felt a pang of guilt when she turned down social invitations. She worried her friends and family might think she was distancing herself out of sadness or isolation. But the deeper she immersed herself in her quiet routines, the more she understood that this wasn't about rejecting others, it was about prioritizing her own well-being. Over time, her loved ones noticed how much calmer and happier she seemed, and they came to respect and support her choices. For Clara, solitude became a sanctuary. It wasn't loneliness, it was a nourishing space where she could heal, reflect, and grow. By stepping away from the constant buzz of social interactions, she discovered a profound sense of inner peace and balance. Clara's story reminds us that solitude is not something to fear but to embrace. In our later years, creating intentional time for ourselves can lead to clarity, contentment, and a deeper connection with our inner selves. It's in those quiet moments that we often find the peace we've been searching for all along. David's transformation, prioritizing personal growth over social expectations. At 81, David was no stranger to a bustling social life. Known for his charm and humor, he was often the center of attention at gatherings, whether it was a family dinner or a community event. For decades, David believed that constant social interaction was the key to a fulfilling life. Yet as the years passed, he began to feel a growing disconnect. While the events were lively and the company pleasant, he often left feeling drained and unfulfilled. He realized that the time he spent meeting societal expectations left little room for his own passions and personal growth. One evening, after yet another neighborhood gathering, David sat in his quiet living room, reflecting on the years gone by. He thought about his love for painting, a hobby he had abandoned long ago due to the demands of his social calendar. The realization struck him: he had been so focused on pleasing others and maintaining appearances that he had neglected the things that truly brought him joy and meaning. That moment became a turning point for David. Determined to reclaim his time, David made a conscious decision to step back from unnecessary social obligations. He began politely declining invitations that didn't resonate with him and instead carved out time to explore his passions. He dusted off his old painting supplies and started creating art again. Each brushstroke became a form of self-expression. A way to reconnect with himself after years of prioritizing others. David also rediscovered his love for reading. Diving into books on philosophy and history that reignited his curiosity and inspired deep reflection. At first, his absence from social events raised eyebrows. Friends and neighbors wondered why David wasn't as present as he used to be. But over time, they began to notice something different about him. He seemed more vibrant, more at peace. By focusing on his personal growth, David found a fulfillment that no social gathering could provide. His days became richer as he explored his interests, learned new skills, and reflected on his life's journey. David's story teaches us an invaluable lesson. As we age, prioritizing personal growth and self-discovery can be far more fulfilling than adhering to societal expectations of constant socializing. It's not about rejecting others but about honoring ourselves. By dedicating time to our passions and interests, we nurture our minds, feed our souls, and create a life of deeper meaning and joy. David's transformation reminds us that it's never too late to rediscover what truly makes us happy. John's journey, the power of peaceful isolation. At 74, John had always been a dedicated family man. For years, he attended every birthday party, holiday gathering, and family barbecue, cherishing the time spent with loved ones. But after retiring, something within him began to shift. Freed from the demanding schedule of work and family obligations, John realized he had been so focused on meeting everyone else's expectations that he'd forgotten to nurture his own passions. It started with a small decision. One weekend, instead of attending a family reunion, John chose to stay home and spend time in his woodworking shop, a place he hadn't fully utilized in years. What began as a simple choice turned into a revelation. Immersed in the rhythm of sawing, sanding, and crafting intricate pieces, John felt a sense of accomplishment and peace that he hadn't experienced in a long time. The quiet focus of working with his hands allowed him to reconnect with himself in a way that social gatherings never had. This initial step inspired John to rethink how he spent his time. Gradually, he began to withdraw from some of the larger, more chaotic family events. Not because he didn't love his family, but because he needed space to explore his own interests. He found joy in tending to his garden, cultivating flowers and vegetables that brought both beauty and utility to his home. He also reignited his passion for reading, diving into novels and history books that broadened his horizons and enriched his understanding of the world. At first, John's family worried about his absence, fearing he was isolating himself. But they soon realized that this quiet time wasn't about loneliness, it was about self-care. The more John invested in his hobbies and personal growth, the happier and more fulfilled he became. In fact, his relationships with his family improved as he returned to gatherings feeling recharged and at peace, rather than overwhelmed and drained. John's story is a testament to the power of peaceful isolation. Far from being a withdrawal from life, it can be a way to reconnect with our inner selves, rediscover forgotten passions, and find joy in the simplicity of solitude. By stepping back from the noise of daily life, John created a space where his mind and soul could thrive. His experience reminds us that taking time for ourselves is not selfish, it's a vital act of self-love and growth. In our later years, intentional solitude can become a powerful ally, offering peace, mental clarity, and opportunities for personal growth. Through the inspiring stories we've explored, it's clear that stepping away from constant social obligations isn't about isolation, it's about rediscovering ourselves, nurturing our passions, and finding fulfillment in quiet moments. By embracing solitude, we can recharge, reflect, and build a deeper connection with who we truly are. Have you experienced the transformative power of positive solitude? Perhaps it's time to consider its benefits and carve out moments to reconnect with yourself. Share your story in the comments and inspire others to view solitude as a gateway to balance and growth. Let's celebrate this journey together and embrace the beauty of intentional alone time. Your insights could be the spark someone else needs to take their first step toward inner peace.